And I'd like to welcome each of you this morning with an open heart and acknowledge within each of us that space where we are already whole and complete at the soul level. And let this next 30 minutes be an opportunity to open our minds, to clear away any former beliefs of what we think life is about, and be open to a new sense of discovery, as Marita read from the Daily Word, reminding us that each of us is unlimited, infinite, expansive beyond what we may think or experience. What an adventure we are all about ready to embark on every single day. As Chris so beautifully plays, morning has broken like a new morning. Every moment is fresh and new, should we so choose. And today, it is my intention to share with each of you some ways by which we can each remain more balanced and calm and in the flow of grace. And the good news is, it's already within us. And this process has already begun as we look around in this room. We are embraced by many loving, caring, supportive individuals, some which may become new friends for you. The most important friend to have is ourselves. We sit in a chapel that was made by the loving hands by very devoted spiritual people from this community. It's been a continued unfoldment and carried literally by that love and devotion for life, for God, and for this process of inward turning and self-discovery, and to bring it into the community and into our daily lives. We're embraced in nature with all of its beauty and rhythms. We're carried in the rhythms of inspiring music. And hopefully, we're carried in the compassion that we can both receive and feel for each of us and our fellow man and woman. So what happens when we leave here? How do we maintain a sense of balance and calm and self-remembrance? Let's take a moment, just a few moments, just to pause, close our eyes, this sacred soak of just opening ourselves to have that greater sense of infinite beingness, which already resides at the core of our being, and set our intention to welcome it, to invite it in, to reveal itself to us, expressing as each of us individually and perhaps even smile and acknowledge that presence as a living reality. And now let us go forward in ways on how to express. We're all here on the same adventure ride. There's nothing to really defend, but to express, to open to this sense of wholeness and oneness within us. When we leave today, we'll probably begin conversing with our friends, having an update, discussing our plans for the day, or would we like to meet for lunch? Maybe we'll check our cell phones or our text messages. We get in the cars, we start moving about from this still, quiet space. And as the song goes, we can get all shook up. This wonderful technology known as the internet connects us to our human family worldwide. But with all of the information and the news within our community, politics, healthcare, environment, things can start to disturb us, take us off balance, and we can get caught in that sticky web as if the internet is like our global nervous system that we're all plugged into, unaware. It can be like we're under a spell. Perhaps you have felt like this, like I have from time to time. The key is just to be aware. This exists. But then we pause and say, what is my choice? Because we start to realize how it's affecting us. Mentally, so much information, moving so fast. I think we're all getting ADD. Our brains are just here. They're designed to focus really on one thing at a time. Now that one thing may have come in many forms or varieties, but it's still one thing. And our brain and nervous system actually get scrambled and fried because we're not designed to handle so much movement and so much information. And we know whenever we have a thought, it directly affects our bodies. Because we know from our holistic series, it's all one thing. It's all connected. It's a vast network of communication that's going on within our system. So we want to be mindful, which simply really means to be aware. Because actually, if you think about it, have you noticed that sometimes our minds are really full of it? But there's something beyond the mind. There's something that is observing that we have thoughts. Right? Okay, so this is the part going deeper into what is behind our intellectual thinking processes and discernment, beyond our bodies, beyond our emotions. And to make contact with this, literally to plug more into that place of wholeness, the core of our being. And remember, we already are calm, clear, balanced, and carried in the flow of grace. And then when we forget, flip it like a coin. What's the other side of forget? We can go into a positive mode. That means I just remembered, right? So this is how we can be very, very kind to ourselves. And there's a saying that when we change our view of things, our perception, inward, that the outer world changes. Because we are identifying with this wonderful life experience, with its ups and downs, from a different point of view. I watch my thoughts. I choose to accept whatever is happening. I rebalance, and I choose to focus on being more calm and centered in the flow of grace. Now I'm going to give you some tools for that in just a moment. Just be mindful that it's already there if we just choose to take the time that sacred pause. As Marita shared with us this morning, just breathe. Clear the deck. Have you ever found yourself at the end of the day, all the chores are done, you finally get time to yourself or whatever you're going to do, read a book or watch a movie, and the first thing that usually comes out of our mouth is, ah, the most effortless sound of letting go. Of letting go. So what I'd like to invite you this morning is to look at the bigger picture. When Marita mentioned here that one of the principles that we share is there is only one life, one power, one substance. Whatever name you give to that, God expressing as that absolute or ultimate reality, each of us are an individual expression of that, not separate. Think of it like this. You picture a sun, and the sun has all of these rays. Do not the rays of the sun contain the essence of the sun itself? Honoring that each of us here is such a special individualized expression of that one operating in a whole. It just appears separate because there is space or distance in this physical realm from myself and you. But I ask you this morning, since we're infinite, to open up to these possibilities, to expand our awareness. Let it unfold according to what you're putting your attention on and how curious you might be about going on this process of self-discovery and inward turning. So let's look at it this way. Oneness, the number one. I'm going to share with you the Samkhya philosophy, which has to do with the numbering of the process of creation itself. We're going to simplify this. Okay, this was based on sages and seers, and it's the premise for the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and also the Upanishads. These are ancient texts by which knowledge was self-revealed. And then it was written down. And it is the basis of every culture around the world. They all say the same thing, maybe using a different word or language. So going from here, we take the number one. There's only one power substance that's creating, maintaining, and transforming nature in this universe. It comes from a field of absolute beingness with no characteristics, and it acts upon itself. We also refer to this as pure consciousness. So it acts upon itself and it says, think time to create something. So here it comes. We hear the word from Genesis. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that sound and vibration and light that came into being, we often refer to as the Amen or the Om, and that's what is heard. So this one, okay, as it comes into expression, now we have polarity. One, now it's horizontal. But as a pole, it has two ends, right? And we need negative and positive to have movement, to have a flow, to have physical manifestation. And this is where all the elements of the cosmos come together, and it comes down, and here we are, we show up. Well, then everything appears separate from us. And this is where we get under a spell. All of this is happening in oneness expressing. It is a dance of opposites. We need to have, in this oneness, like a pole, you've got one end and the other. We need to have these two energies in order to have physical form and matter. And for us, to be in being, we know we're an electrical magnetic being. We know the energies of the world. Science now has technology to show how all this is working. But sometimes we get caught up in all the stuff about it expressing. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying it and exploring and learning. That's what we're here for. To expand our sense of infiniteness that's expressing. But sometimes what happens is we have highs and lows in life, and everyone does, and we start to move like a teeter-totter, up, down, up, down, up, down. And there's so much movement that pretty soon we get out of balance and we forget a sense of our centeredness. If you look at it like a teeter-totter, how many people played on a teeter-totter when they were? So when you think of this, the energies expressing as they move through life, is not there a center? Is not there an area by which there's a foundation to hold us firm so that we can have movement and expression? And as they say in Chinese medicine, nature naturally seeks a sense to rebalance itself at all times. And is it not true that each of us, without being demanded, do we not seek a sense of well-being and peace and calm? And there's a saying that the kingdom is within. So let's move into that experience. Let's first start with what can we do practically on a regular basis. So perhaps simplify our life so we don't have so many things to do. It's a process. Be gentle, patient, compassionate. Know what your goal is, and then just say, since I'm aligning with nature and the flow of grace, I am carried because this is the natural process of my blueprint. And when we need to rest, we rest. We nourish our bodies with nourishing food and also with people and relationships around us. All of this is always affecting us. So we make a choice without judgment. Judgment places us in separation. Everyone has the choice on how they choose to live their life. And I was once told the most secret sacred mantra was MYOB. Mind your own business. So we want to keep our center, even when we're experiencing these ups and downs of life. We always want to be here. We also support ourselves with movement, exercise of any kind, walking in nature, singing, dancing. I know some of us practice Hatha yoga, and another form of movement, as Marita mentioned, is Qigong. Qi just means life energy, Gong just means your skillful use of it. Couldn't we all use more of that? And this is a simple practice of connecting with the flow of life through gentle movement. And these movements are singular and they're repeated gently in a flow. So there's no performance at all. You don't have to memorize anything. And people have found that by practicing Qigong, especially when we do it here in nature and we're receiving all of the benefits of nature, that they experience a sense of being more centered and balanced. It becomes real. because they're having a direct experience with a new way to interact with their body and their mind and their awareness and their breath, restoring this sense of wholeness. And I guarantee if you practice and when you come, it will keep you smiling. That is the key. But there is an outer technology we have that is carrying our lives and helping things to become more simple and meeting all of our needs. I think one of my first ones I love is the car. I don't have to feed and saddle up the horse. Another means by which we are carried in grace through a physical representation of the One. But there is also a way that we can access this sense of centeredness within ourselves. This is our life. But remember, like the teeter-totter, there's a foundation, there's a center, there's a neutral space of just being. Besides doing practical practices, we use the breath to clear the deck, to do that, let go. And in Qigong, we do a movement that goes something like this. We inhale and notice, what are we doing? Do you see the circle, the oneness? And we gather everything back in, recenter ourselves, all the way down ground, and once again. So we have the experience connecting awareness, body, energy, in this sense of wholeness. But there's inner technology besides Qigong that you can do, and the key is the breath. Something that's so simple, but it's so close to the source. Without it, we would not live. And one of the practices is called alternate nostril breathing. How many people are familiar with alternate nostril breathing? Wonderful. So let's see if we can go a little deeper, and we'll do that practice together this morning. Oh, I did want to mention about the Qigong that there are flyers over here, but the workshop is on Friday, also the first Friday of September from 10:30 to 12. If you would like to experience and have an introduction to see if you want to start classes on Tuesday the 17th, that will go through the end of October. And that will also repeat on Monday from 10:30 to 12. Everything is on donation basis. So if we kind of just look at this as how energy is formed, often through the day what happens to us is we get off our center, and sometimes things get so shooken up that we literally feel a sense of back and forth, back and forth. The key is then to move to a sense of flow, which we'll now do with practicing alternate nostril breathing. As these two energies in your body come into balance, it means the left side, the right side, what we refer to as the sun and the moon, we're actually accessing an internal pathway of energy through our spine. And then we're back to the oneness again, a sense of flow. This is our inner technology and how we access it. I'd like to give you one more visual before we begin. Think of this as your spine, and then your brain's at the top. You have a left side, you have a right side. But my arm is not over there, cut off from my center. So what we're doing in this practice is we will breathe alternately through our nostrils. Left, right, right to left. I call it rainbow breathing. I like to picture a rainbow above my head. And as we do this, you take the two energies, often referred to in Hatha Yoga as Hatha means sun, moon. You're balancing a cooling sense of energy with a warming sense. And as we alternately breathe through each nostril, you see how this spirals around and connects, like the medical caduceus. Okay? So it happens at each of these intersections, there's a connection back to the center. And both sides, left and right, just like the teeter-totter, start to balance out. And then what do? They go from back and forth, to straight up. Right up through the spine, up into the higher brain centers, where we process higher states of consciousness and awareness above our thinking mind, to our observing mind, to that source right within ourselves. Yogananda, who wrote the autobiography of a yogi, said, "Few people realize that the spine and the brain are the altar of God. And this is how we use our inner technology to make that connection even on a deeper level." So, let's begin. Just notice that you're breathing. And take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And let the breath return back to normal, in and out through the nose. Now as you do this, close your right nostril. If you're watching me, I will mirror you and do the opposite. So as you close your right nostril, very gently breathe in through the left. Pause for a moment, switch your fingers, close the left, and exhale through the right. Breathe in through the right, pause, close the right as you exhale through the left. This is one round. Repeat gently and slowly. Inhaling left, pause, close left, exhale right, inhale right, pause, close right, exhale left. And if you're comfortable, let's repeat a few more times. Inhale left, pause, close left, exhale right, inhale right, pause, close right, exhaling left, inhale left, pause, close right, exhale, close left, exhale right, inhale right, pause, exhale left. Now, just rest and notice with your gaze lifted up to the space between the eyebrows. This is our lookout point, the prefrontal lobes of the brain. This is our place of observing, just noticing. And when our attention is maintained here, all of our vital forces and our energies are centered. And as we sustain this, through this practice, and through our awareness of keeping our attention lifted up here throughout the day, we can destroy all the effects of past actions. So as you rest in this space of just observing, when you leave here today, you can practice alternate nostril breathing before meditation or any time you want to be centered, calm, and in the flow of grace. But when your eyes are open and you're moving about with your daily responsibilities, if you can keep your attention here in the forehead, gently, maybe even invite the breath as if it could move in and out through this space. This will assist us in maintaining that center of calm and peace and self-remembrance as that infinite, boundless being, already whole and complete. Obstacles and interferences are gently and effortlessly removed, and we are carried in the flow of grace. So as we conclude, just allow yourself to feel the weight of the body, feet back on the floor, and allow an invitation of a sense of self-renewal and continued self-exploration of our infinite beingness. And likewise, as we look into the hearts of people everywhere, let us remember their wholeness and look through any appearances that are in contrary to their true self. And for this time of gathering, we are forever grateful. And if you'd like to join me in chanting Om one time. Om.